I didn't have alcoholic parents, but from what I can tell and what you guys are talking about, I feel like I would really benefit from checking it out.
Everyone benefits, and not everyone in my support group, my therapy group, grew up in an alcoholic home. We're all from, just there's some type of dysfunction in them.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and just like AA, the 12 steps can be applied to a lot of different things. I think the principles of ACA can be applied to a lot of different dysfunctions,
Mhm.
and the tools and the things that you learn there. Absolutely. Here is my personal experience, though. Um, if you're in early recovery, I discourage diving too deep into them because they can trigger stuff. And I've seen people get triggered and go back to drinking because they no longer have the alcohol or the tools to cope with these feelings that are coming up, because you're learning, like, oh, that was really trauma, or, you know, that was abuse. That that over strict grandmother who was repent or go to hell was verbally abusive. And you start realizing that if you don't have some tools, then you're on thin ice. So I always tell people to wait, dive in slowly. But I think ACA, the program, looking at that stuff is so important. Well, I'm still toying with the idea of going back to school. And my research project would have been, or will be, the prevalence of how ACA issues fuel relapse.
Mhm.
I would really love to study why relapse happens after 1 year, 2 years of recovery, when it's not an obvious apparent reason, you know, because,
Oh, I explain to especially the clients where, they're willing to walk through it because, if they're not ready for it, it's not good for you to push it on them. But the ones that are open to talking about it, and the way I explain it to them is, okay, so here's the edge. And when we start with education and relapse prevention, that gets you a little bit further from the edge. We teach you about your triggers, um, your, your people, places, and things, all the coping skills. They get you further and further back. We develop a support system. They get you further and further from the edge. But if you don't work on your emotional sobriety, that puts you in a very risky position. You're still close to the edge. If you don't work on the emotional sobriety and all these issues that fuel that emotional intoxication, you're already close to the edge, and that can tip you over. So, I so agree. And it really improves the quality of life if you've never been aware of, like, there's all these issues I have, and it's kind of like your house is full of clutter, but you don't know it. You finally clean it up and open up the windows, the light's coming in. There's a whole nother life that these issues are just really bogging you down. So, uh, I, I, re- I also, to your point of introducing it too early in recovery, I was probably a year sober when it was introduced to me. And again, I was reluctant at first, but there was a point to where, like, basically the sky had been ripped open. It's like now I could really see what was going on. And, um, I could hardly even put thoughts together for a week because it had just really shooken so much up. And so I really agree with your point of not introducing it too early in recovery.
my dad's parents, neither of them drank, but they were over the top fundamental Christians. And his mother's brother died of alcoholism. So it was in the family. Those traits were still there, and they still passed